British Land is always trying to develop its buildings as sustainably as possible. One of the biggest challenges we face is how to adapt our older buildings and minimise the loss of embodied carbon that went into the original construction of them. When we adapt older buildings, traditionally we've needed to demolish parts of them. In this instance, we're trying to avoid crushing concrete by cutting out modular sections of it to see if we can test it and then reuse it elsewhere in the building or potentially in other locations in the built environment. Substantial changes will be needed to reimagine the Euston Tower for modern use, and we've developed a progressive circular economy strategy to minimise future carbon emissions. With our consultant and contractor team, British Land is collaborating with the University of Surrey to explore new ways of removing concrete from buildings and recycling it for alternative uses.
We often talk about concrete recycling in the UK, but the reality is that when we talk of concrete recycling, we're actually downcycling it because we crush it and we use it as road fill or backfill or engineering fill somewhere. If you show the problem to a child says, well, why don't you just cut out a piece of concrete and use it somewhere else? And so that's exactly what we're trying to do over here. We are literally trying to cut out a piece of concrete, test its strength, and see if that concrete can be used as a floor structure in a building, either in our new development at Euston Tower or in a building elsewhere. Because this is a first and every project is unique, developing the process has been the first challenge. There are three fundamental parts to the process. First, we're cutting out a 4.5 metre wide by 1.5 metre long piece of concrete from one of the floors of the existing tower. Then we have to lower the slab and manoeuvre it out of the building. And you can imagine the scale of the process involved. Just this one piece weighs a couple of tons. And in the third step, we're driving it up to the University of Surrey, where we're working with the university to test the concrete strength so that it can hopefully be used in a structure once again. We don't know what the outcomes are, but one thing we're committing to, and it's become one of our values, is to open source and share everything we know and everything we learn so that other people can take on some of these learnings and progress them for themselves. So we've just finished a couple of days here at Euston Tower. We've cut out our concrete slab, we've lowered it, and it's now sitting on the back of a truck being driven up to the University of Surrey. We're really excited to work with the university to test the slab, and stay tuned to find out what happens next.